The 1960s delivered some of the most iconic war movies ever made, yet not all of them received the recognition they deserved. One starred Clint Eastwood on a daring mission deep in Nazi territory, while another inspired Peter Jackson's epic Helm's Deep battle, and the one at number 1 features one of the greatest movie stunts of all time, performed by a legendary actor himself. Let's rank the very best war films of the decade. Both the screenplay for 1968's Where Eagles Dare and the novel it was based on were written by adventure writer Steve McQueen, who served in the Royal Navy during the Second World War. The film, like the book, follows a specialist mission by Allied paratroopers to raid a castle in the German Alps and rescue an American the Nazis are holding prisoner. With an impressive cast led by Richard Burton and Clint Eastwood, this one is a thrilling watch that has gained a reputation as one of the best in the genre. Starring Michael Caine in his first major film appearance, Zulu depicts the Battle of Rorke's Drift, which saw 150 British soldiers take on over 3,000 Zulu warriors. The film was highly successful when it was first released in 1964, gaining positive reviews from critics who praised its brutal and bloody portrayal of real-life events, as well as the scale of the battle scenes. Lord of the Rings director Peter Jackson cited Zulu as an influence when it came to filming the Battle of Helm's Deep sequence in the Two Towers. Hell is for Heroes is about a unit of American soldiers who must hold off an entire Nazi company for 48 hours until reinforcements can get to them. The film is directed by Don Siegel and stars Steve McQueen as Private John Reese. The film is a great black and white war film that has you on the edge of your seat. King Rat is about Corporal King, an American prisoner in a Japanese prisoners of war camp during World War II. The film was adapted from James Clavell's novel, which was partially based on his own experiences as a prisoner at a prison in Malaya during the war. King Rat was written and directed by Brian Forbes and is a real insight into the struggles of the Allied soldiers that were captured during this time. Lawrence of Arabia is one of the longest Hollywood films ever made, clocking in at 227 minutes, and is considered one of the best films ever made. Although the film is long, it is hard to take your eyes off Freddie Young's gorgeous cinematography. Lawrence of Arabia is a great movie about a meditative journey that stars Peter O'Toole and Alec Guinness. The film was nominated for 10 Academy Awards and won 7 of them, including Best Picture and Best Director. The Longest Day is an epic war film based on the 1959 non-fiction novel by Cornelius Ryan about the invasion of Normandy on D-Day. The film had one of the largest international casts of the time that included John Wayne, Sean Connery, and Henry Fonda. The Longest Day employed several military consultants who were there on June 6, 1944, which truly shows in the film's accurate depictions. It was nominated for 5 Academy Awards and won 2. Spartacus is based on the 1951 novel by Howard Fast, which was inspired by the leader of a Roman slave revolt, Spartacus. The classic was directed by Stanley Kubrick and is one of the longest Hollywood films ever made. The film stars Kirk Douglas, Laurence Olivier, and Gene Simmons and won 4 Academy Awards. Spartacus is considered one of the best revolution depictions on film. Considered one of Stanley Kubrick's best films, Dr. Strangelove is a black comedy about the Cold War. The film satirizes the fear of nuclear fallout between the Soviet Union and the United States, as rogue US Air Force general orders the first nuclear strike on the Soviet Union. Peter Sellers is hilarious in 3 separate roles. Dr. Strangelove is not only considered one of the greatest comedies of all time, but is also considered one of the greatest films of all time and was inducted into the National Film Registry in 1989. The Dirty Dozen is based on E.M. Nathanson's 1965 best-selling novel, which was inspired by the real-life World War II demolition specialists named the Filthy 13, whose job it was to go behind enemy lines and destroy Axis targets. In The Dirty Dozen, Major John Reisman, Lee Marvin, is tasked with taking 12 of the Army's worst prisoners and training them for a suicide mission to destroy a Nazi target right before D-Day. The Great Escape is one of the best World War II films ever made. The film, although heavily fiction, is based on Paul Brickhill's 1950 non-fiction novel about the mass escape of British prisoners of war from the German camp. It was one of the highest-grossing films of 1963 and is credited with having one of the best stunts ever performed.